Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin from Chronicle Books, and I'm joined by our fabulous marketing director, Andy, and Antonio from Levine, Querido today. Thank you for stopping by the booth. We're so sad we can't talk to you about all these amazing books in person, but we really wanted to give you a chance to hear about what we have coming from us first. And now, for the sake of time, let's jump right in and have Andy start off.
Right, we're going to start with It's So Quiet from New York Times bestselling author of Goodnight Construction Site, Sherry Dusky-Rinker, and Geisel award-winning illustrator and Pixar animator, Tony Fucilli, comes a silly, noisy bedtime book that will have parents and children squealing, croaking, and laughing along before settling themselves down for a quiet night's sleep. It's time for bed, but one little mouse just can't get to sleep. It's too quiet. But the night is full of rhythmic sounds, from the croak of the bullfrog to the howl of a coyote on a distant hill. As the symphony of nighttime sounds builds in this rollicking read-aloud, the mouse starts to wonder whether he wouldn't like a little more quiet. In the classroom, it's also a perfect poetry primer on rhythm and rhyme and on onomatopoeia. It's sure to delight readers of all ages.
All right, so next we have you ever seen a flower? Some of you might recognize Sean from his work from What Can a Citizen Do and Everyone's Awake. This is just a beautiful new authorial debut by him. This book is kind of like They All Saw a Cat meets The Wonderful Things You Will Be, and it really redefines not only what it means to be a flower, but what it means to be a human and to be alive. So it's a little deceptively simple, but also deeply profound. But in this story, one child experiences a flower with all five senses, from its color to its fragrance to the entire universe it evokes. Have you ever seen a flower takes readers on a journey of new perspectives? Looking at a flower teaches us to look at everything around us, to expand our perception and to question what it means to see and be. This is just truly a beautiful exploration of perception, the environment, and our humanity. This book is perfect for the lap, the classroom, or library reading circle. It has lots of thought-provoking questions to be asked aloud throughout the book and themes that invite discussion and conversation at every reading level. I wish I could show you every page. It's just stunning throughout. But that's Have You Ever Seen a Flower?
Next, there's This Is a Rainbow. This timely, hopeful picture book is the perfect resource for educators and caregivers to talk about COVID-19 or getting through any difficult experience. Inspired by the multitude of rainbows found in windows of homes around the world during the coronavirus lockdown, There Is a Rainbow shares a message of connection, resilience, and comfort. The book's emphasis is on finding a network of support, whether it's with neighbors across the street, family members a phone call away, or a wider community accessible through technology. It just shows a community coming together and helping one another through a difficult time. On the other side of a street, there is help. On the other side of sadness, there are hugs. And on the other side of a storm, there is a rainbow.
Okay, so next we have Nia and the New Free Library. This book is bound to be a favorite by all of you. It kind of goes into how after a tornado destroys a town's library, this young girl named Nia steps up to bring her community back together to make sure that the library comes back. She's not only there to remind the entire town of the joy of books, but also to remind them of the power of community, and especially the important role of a library in a community. This really just kind of shows how much can be accomplished when everyone comes and works together, and just the magic of stories and how much they're needed in a community.
Going up a little older in age, we have The Middle Kid. Ramona the Pest meets Charlie and Mouse in this new book about the wonderfully challenging daily realities of being the middle kid in a family. It's written and illustrated by Middle Kid himself, Steven Weinberg, who's the illustrator of the Astronaut series. When you're the middle kid, you're never the first nor the last to do anything. You're not the tallest or the smallest. You're babysitting one sibling but teased by the other. Stuck between a bossy older brother and a naive little sister, Middle Kid feels left out of two worlds. But he shows readers through his doodles and his experiences that his world is just as big and important as his siblings. It's perfect for readers who are stuck between early readers and graphic novels. The middle kid is engaging, funny, and creates empathy for all the characters' different experiences.
Next, we have a huge favorite here. We're so sad that this is the 12th and final book in our beloved Ivy and Bean series, but we get to join the fun for these two's antics one last time. So in this 12th book, it's career day at Emerson Elementary School, and all the students have to choose what they want to be when they grow up. It's no problem for Ivy and Bean. They already have it all figured out, or at least they thought they did until they met Herman the treasure hunter. So now everyone in the second grade is looking for treasure and finding it, everyone except for Ivy and Bean. So the two of them keep kind of going and trying to dig things up, and they can't really come across anything, but they're determined to find some treasure. So once they get their shovels out, they also discover some trouble as well as treasure. Once again, so sad to see this go, but really, really love the Ivy and Bean series, so please take a look.
Right, next up is middle grade novel by Marcy Campbell, told with honesty, nuance, and depth. How do you share a parent with a stranger? Maggie is accustomed to leading her life perfectly according to her own well-designed plans. When Maggie learns that she has a half-brother her own age who needs a place to stay, any semblance of a plan is shattered. Tony's mom struggles with an addiction to opioids, and now she's called upon Maggie's dad, who's also Tony's dad, to take him in. As Maggie struggles to reconcile her mom and dad's almost divorce, accept that Alzheimer's is afflicting her grandmother, and understand Tony's own issues, ignorance is no longer an option. While Maggie can strive for, and even succeed in a perfect design, when it comes to family, nothing is perfect. Tackling its complexities is only possible with an open heart. Heart-wrenching, authentic, and darkly funny, this is a spectacularly written portrayal of the ways we respond to intense change and proof that no matter the circumstances, the unexpected things are often the best ones.
All right, and next we have the Illustrated Encyclopedia of the Elements by Lisa Congdon. This is a gorgeous nonfiction book for kids. I wish I'd had it back when I was learning chemistry in school. Lisa really accomplishes teaching about the elements in a fun and visually appealing way. It's such a vibrant and stunning book that explores all 118 known elements. It successfully combines science, history, trivia, humor, and endless fascination for science enthusiasts of every age. I think middle grade readers will love this interesting take on the periodic table of elements. Yeah, some great illustrations there. Next, we just have a few books that we wanted to squeeze in here. I think, Andy, do you want to talk about Fox and Chick?
All right, so a few that we just wanted to touch on really briefly. We have Fox and Chick, The Sleepover, Unlikely Friends, Fox and Chick are back in the third book in a hilarious early reader series by Geisel honoree Sergio Rousier. And then we have Sight, full of stunning visual sophistication and compelling infographics, and packed with facts about all aspects of sight. This volume joins sound as a science-intense illumination on our vivid sensory world. We also have Crescent Moons and Pointed Minarets, magnificently capturing the shapes of Islam. This acclaimed book that inspires curiosity and conversations about world religions and cultures is now available in paperback. With extensive back matter and a teacher's guide that's available, it's perfect for the use in the classroom.
Yeah, and then we also have Elephants Come Home, which is an amazing true story of a herd of elephants, the man who saved them, and the miracle of love that brought them home. It's a really heartwarming true story that intrigues and inspires children, and will turn even the most reluctant readers into elephant enthusiasts. And then, of course, we have Hello Rain, which is a colorful and lively celebration of rain, just all the beautiful things that it helps grow and the coziness of a rainy day. All right, well, that's all we have. So here's a quick link if you want to sign up for our newsletter. There's our link to all of our educational resources that we're constantly updating. And then, of course, please always follow us on Twitter and Instagram for constant updates. We're always on there sharing things. And then our emails for Andy and me are on there as well. If you ever want to reach out, please don't hesitate. All right, next I'm going to throw it over to Antonio to talk about his upcoming list.
Yay. Yay. I was trying to like toggle over. I'm so excited. I'm going to try to share my screen here. Let's see if I can do this. And let's see if we go. You guys give me the thumbs up if we're good?
Got it.
Oh, fantastic. All right. So I am so excited to just share this time with everybody at NCTE. Oh, I wish I was there. I wish we were all together. Let me just get started with our list. Shy Willow is Catman's debut picture book. And I think it couldn't be more timely. So many kids have been in isolation this year. And I think, as we kind of venture out into the world, there's going to be this transition period that's going to be really interesting and exciting, but also kind of challenging. And so I think this is the perfect book for that kind of adjustment period. So Willow, this bunny, she lives in an abandoned mailbox, and she prefers to stay inside where it's safe. And one day a letter gets deposited anyway, and it's from a little boy. And the little boy is asking the moon if she'll shine brightest on the day of his mother's birthday. The thing is, Willow is terrified to go outside, but if she doesn't deliver the letter, the little boy is going to be completely disappointed. So Willow decides to push herself and overcome her fears. And after many adventures, including a ride on this fabulous bird, she constructs...
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but I think your slides aren't going.
Oh, they're not? Oh, okay. Where?
I think maybe jump into presentation mode.
Okay, let me try.
There you go. It's showing up now.
Oh. Okay, great. Okay, so you guys can see this one. Okay. So all I was going to say about Willow is that I just think it's such a great story about taking the courage to like emerge and like kind of finding that strength and like overcoming your own shyness and trying, and going on this adventure. So I think it's a great, fabulous story for kids right now. It's a story about shyness. It's a story about empathy. It's a story about like I was saying, being brave. So Osnat is the true story of the world's first female rabbi. She was born 500 years ago, and she grew up in a world where few girls were given the opportunity to learn to read and write. So this book is about a strong young woman. She brushed aside tremendous obstacles and made history. Sigal Samuel is an award-winning journalist. She's a staff writer at Vox. She's written for The Atlantic, The Daily Beast. She's appeared on NPR and the BBC. I cannot wait to share Osnat with you all. So Alien Nation by Sandra Bossi is a debut graphic novel. It's a wordless, wonderful, strange book. Think of like Shantan, maybe Chris von Allsburg, maybe David Wiesner. Originally published in Mexico, Alien Nation follows an unforgettable subway ride in an alien world that mirrors our own. But as we explore this alien world, you start to see similarities to our world, and you also start to see that everything descends into chaos, only to return to the status quo. But does it? Popcorn Bob is now going into chapter books. Popcorn Bob is the start of a brand new series. I'm so thrilled and excited to share with you guys. It's about a young adventurous girl named Ellis and this very demented piece of popcorn. Here's Moranka Rink, the author. She's fantastic. She and her husband worked on this book together. He's the illustrator, she's the writer. Popcorn Bob is a laugh out loud story about the power of friendship and the perfect bowl of popcorn. So here are some spreads that I'm happy to share with you guys. And then The Stolen Prince of Cloudburst by Jackie Moriarty is a magical tale of mystery and adventure. Esther Meadowstone arrives at boarding school and finds that there's been a number of changes. Two of her best friends have moved away. Two new mysterious kids have joined the school, including one who's an undercover spellbinder. and a new teacher is rumored to be an ogre. Not to mention that the school is surrounded by dangerous shadow mages. Meanwhile, on the other side of the kingdom, a young prince who was missing for 10 years has found his way home. How are these stories related? You must read to find out. As a fantasy lover, you may be familiar with Jackie Moriarty. She's received a ton of critical acclaim for her Madeline series and her YA novels. The Stolen Prince of Cloudburst is a standalone middle grade. It has that hilarious dialogue that we love from Jackie and that sort of like intricate plotting that you absolutely expect from her. Ultimately, this is a story of a young woman struggling to find her place in the world and learning that even an ordinary middle kid can be the hero. The Searing World by Sacred Stories of the Americas is a collection of indigenous stories. It's stories collected from the Americas all the way from Argentina to Alaska, stories of the Maya, stories of the Guarani, stories of the Mexica, the Inuit, the Toltec, and it's all beautifully illustrated by Mexican artist Amanda Mijangos. For like kids like me, this is really the first time that I'm seeing, that I've read or seen any of these stories translated or told or shared in any meaningful way. I have to say that this book has been vetted by many, many experts throughout Latin America and the United States. We had a ton of sensitivity readers, we had a ton of scholars review this text. The book includes and a lot of back matter as well. So there's an extensive bibliography, there's glossary, there's maps, there's a pronunciation guide, and it will be published simultaneously in Spanish as a paperback edition, which is fantastic. So moving on to young adult, Middletown by Sarah Moon is an issues-driven, voicey YA story. Some people will remember Sarah Moon. She did this anthology collection called The Letter Q, which was also edited by Arthur, and it had this collection of authors. Just kind of, it was a response book to It Gets Better. So in Middletown, it's a story of two sisters. One is like 13 and one is 17, and they're kind of like used to doing things on their own. Their mom isn't really around, and when their mother gets put into a court-enforced rehab, they figure out a scheme to stay together and not have to be under foster care. And they're just going to take things into their own hands, except that it's not really that easy to take care of yourself as a 13-year-old and 17-year-old. And they start to learn that very quickly. So it's about, it's a story that's not afraid to tackle a lot of issues. It's a story about a young queer 8th grader. It's a book about coming of age, about coming out. This book is Own Voices for the LGBTQ representation. It tackles addiction, abandonment, class, and gender. The Immortal Boy, I'm so excited to share with you guys because it's such a like totally different story than what's out there right now in YA. It's definitely one of the more unforgettable novels you'll read this year. It was originally published in Colombia, and it's been translated by David Bowles, who everybody loves on Twitter. If you're not following him, I mean, you absolutely have to. He's fantastic. The Immortal Boy tells two intertwined stories. There's a story of 5 kids who are orphans who have to just figure things out on their own. And then there's a story of a young woman who is in an orphanage, but she's like obsessed with this stranger who everyone calls the Immortal Boy. It has accessible, sensitive, tense writing. Think of this as sort of Jason Reynolds' Long Way Down, but set in Bogota. And then one of the coolest parts of this book is that you can read the whole book in English, flip it over, and then read the entire story in Spanish. It's one bilingual edition. We're calling it this Do-si-do, which is very fun. And then lastly, I am so honored and proud to share everything you wanted to know about Indians, but were too afraid to ask, the Young Readers Edition by Anton Troyer. If you Google Anton, you'll know that he has been everywhere. He has been in the New York Times. He's done TED Talks. He's been on PR. He has spent the past decade of his life really talking about and promoting social justice for Native peoples, which makes him the perfect voice for this book and for just understanding of Native issues. I think the best way to understand this book is for me to just tell you some of the questions. So I'm just going to read them as quickly as I can. What's the real story of Thanksgiving? Hello, that's coming up. What's the real story of Pocahontas? Were Indians ever enslaved? Did Indians keep slaves? What are the different gender identities, or how are different gender identities viewed in Native communities today? What is a powwow? Can white people dance at powwows? Why is there so much concern about mascots? Why is there such a fuss about non-Native people wearing Indian costumes for Halloween? Why is there such a fuss about the statues, public art, place names? There are over 200 stereotype debunking questions in this book. It's amazing. They're thoughtful. They're very sensitive. There are times it can be awkward to read. And I think they're answered with extensive research, with humor, and with compassion. There's over 50 new photos in this book from the original. There's an expanded anti-racism edition, an expanded anti-racism section. And the last question I think that's really important to share is, as a non-Native person, how can I help make a difference? To me, this book is as important as Stamped for helping young minds and young readers understand the challenges and the history of Native people today. So yay! Yay, thank you so much, you guys, for letting me present today with Chronicle. Look, for LQ, we have digital arcs on Edelweiss. We have physical arcs that you can just email me and I'll send them to you, or you can DM us on our social media accounts. If you email me, make sure you include your address, because I've been getting all these emails that are like, send me books, and that's it. So send me your address and I'll gladly send you some books. And then if we were ever doing anything in person, you would just come find us at the Chronicle booth, where we would be.
Yay! Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.